The airplane up here was an airplane that I had for a number of years, donated to the museum when I was the aircraft conservator here. The airplane, for lack of a better name, would be a Fox airplane because it was designed and built by Barney Fox, the same person that built the Pietenpol. It's up in the other part of the museum. He built this. Well, he built everything for all the neighbors. He built bicycles. He built you name it. Um, and he was building this airplane for his own kids. He had it just about done, and he was welding, and he set the thing on fire, and it burned one wing off. It burned the covering off the fuselage. It did quite a job. And at that point, the rest of the family became disinterested in it. So in 1959, when he was building the Pietenpol, my father and I were helping him, and he gave it to me. So my father and I finished it out. And this was the color. This has been restored by the aviation volunteers. They've done a wonderful job of doing it. It's just about exactly what it was when I first had it. The design of the airplane was probably followed by the Link Trainer, which was the very early simulator, aviation simulator. The Link Trainer was built in 1934, and it has the same lines as this airplane does. We completely went through the airplane, and it was very close to being what an actual airplane would be. The fuselage is steel tubing that he had welded, and the wings have the wing ribs, and it's a little bit different from what the actual airplane is, but very similar. It never did have an engine in it, which was something that I always thought it should have. I was only 9 years old at the time, and it seemed like a good idea, but in fact, my father and I started to build a mount to put an engine on it. It would have been a lawnmower engine. And then they decided, common sense prevailed, and they decided not to do that. So all the controls are the same as they would be in an airplane. I would sit in it for hours, or I had two sisters, and we'd take turns of who pushed the other one around in the airplane. It's hard to believe that I actually fit in that thing. I had plenty of room, but when I was 9 years old, it was quite different. The job that they've done is actually pretty amazing. Is how close it is to what the original was. The only actual aviation part in the airplane is the headrest right behind the cockpit, and that was from an airplane that was built back in the 30s. It was called a Mercury Chick, but the rest was all his own idea. It sat for years. I donated to the museum, and the volunteers have finished it up and done a wonderful job. When I was probably 5 or 6 at the time. My father had a Cub, and the number was 71071, and I always liked that number. Thought that was the most beautiful airplane that I'd ever seen. So the 7-1 is from that, and the B is for Bailey. By the time I had received the airplane, I've been taking flying lessons for 2 years. So. You're welcome.